thing that resonated with me with what you said is finding ways to connect people to the space. That's super important. And I think everyone will find their own way to do that, you know? I think everyone has their own skills and their own interests and something that joins them. So, as much as we can support people, and not everyone will support everyone, and people will come and go, but because it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. I mean, some people marathon really well, like Amrita and Yash have been there forever, since the beginning, as far as I know, you know. So, I think just being conscientious of that and then finding how you can amplify your voice with the few people who happen to, you know, will be there at the right time to help you, I think is really important. So whether it's through art events, so like just to give you an example, I'm pretty sure at some point there have been art events. Like Amrita said, we use the festivals. That was a really big one. Like Ganpati is huge. So we had natural pigments and we did Ganpati on the trees. Things like that really got eyeballs. You know, like they did Rakis. Some people tied Rakis. That was also a big one. So, and then with the kids, it was really easy for them. They wanted to come up with songs. Then some people brought in Swadesi, the hip hop group, that brought in a whole other vibe. Then, like Sahil said, the trekking, the hikers, the running. Everyone has to find their way to bring that space, like to energize that space, and then connecting with local communities. That was also really important at some point.
So maybe since Christmas is around the corner, I think we can come up with something on that lines to.
Yeah, and food. People love food. It's such an
Okay.
important one. Don't underestimate it. Like people
Uh,
really did the Adivasi cook-offs, and you know they came to eat, and even in the Mahotsav, like that was really important. So definitely, Christmas would be a great time to galvanize that, like build some energy.
I'll share this idea with the group, the Go Inside Quote, and the other groups that are in the movement.
December, but you should also target 31st December. And maybe you all can have like a nice big party around whichever area is the most accessible, obviously. Um, yes, I also feel that in the movement there are so many different narratives and so many different voices. You have the student voices, you have like different people connect in different ways. And I have been living in Bombay for all my life, but I didn't know that Adivasis existed or Adivasis even lived inside of Aarey Forest, maybe just 20, 30 minutes away from my house. So even just connecting people or even sharing about the culture of the local communities, that can be very, very interesting for some people, maybe not so much for the other people, but I think even just getting that narrative out uh, in the world or in maybe even in the Goan communities, that could really, really help.
Uh, Sahil, you would like to suggest something?
Yeah, one of the points I think Kriti covered it perfectly well. That there's some things, there are some movements that cannot necessarily be connected in the way the movement wants it to be connected. Sometimes people find their own roots to the movement. So very specifically, if I talk about the colleges, okay, I knew all the colleges in Mumbai on the back of my hand. So I knew very distinct cultures that every college had in their respective um, uh, students community. So the way I reached out to them was I told them what the movement was about, but I did not tell them exactly what I was expecting of them. I would tell them, it is completely on you, how you want to express your support for the movement. So people came in different ideas, like say lectures, debates, or any sorts of things that they came up with. And this is not necessary to just the colleges. It's about every, trekking groups or say marathon groups or, as mentioned, artists of different sorts. I remember we had made basically a sort of a camp in one of the festivals that happen in Mumbai, wherein we had a table set for RA and we were, kind of the only table which was not selling anything but just campaigning about the movement. So we had different people joining in. But the major point I would like to put out is, I would say this will happen with every movement, including the Mollem movement. is that there are going to be differences, okay, and there are going to be rigid differences between people. And the way the RA movement was successful, I think Amrita ji would, kind of has somewhere experienced all of it. The way a movement is successful is through constantly engaging within ourselves as well, okay, and kind of making a common route where everyone can agree on, minimum common ground that everyone can agree on. Okay, in RA itself, there were students, there were tribals, there were activists, lawyers, environmentalists, all sorts of people. And this was one of the reasons why the movement was represented in its entirety. Okay, we had leftists, we had rightists, but we kind of found a common way as well. Okay, so that is very, very important. And if you want your movement to be successful, I believe Goans in all forms have to come in. Okay, it can be, they can be as diverse as Goa can be.
I remember people did here was they took the RA movement to the trains because the Mumbai trains are such a big part of life here, right? So instead, because not everyone could come to RA, even then, even if it was in the middle of the city, people would be like, it's very far. So people sometimes didn't come. So a lot of people, and even with Fridays for Future, they did the whole standing at train stations thing. And that really engaged a lot more people that normally would have never possibly come out. And I know with the kids, we did a performance in Bandra on Carter Road, which is another community space of Mumbai and so on. And there were some struggles to get permissions, especially before the government changed and so on. But that really helped us. So maybe if this laws loosen up again, instead of trying to get people to the forest, going to the beaches and doing like street theater or beach theater to engage people, just start getting it in the psyche of people. That might be another arm of the same
Yeah.
same different way of outreach.
Yeah.